Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? In today's ASMR video on this channel we're going to look at a brief history of the Italian Republic of Italy, and I'm going to focus primarily on something called the Unification, something I want to share with you and learn a little bit more about myself, which is basically the fact that up until about 120, 130 years ago, Italy wasn't Italy. It was a group of independent, let's call them nations, but we'll learn exactly what they were in a moment. All speaking different languages with different cultures, and the unification is what brought them together and created this one state of Italy. So that's what we're going to look at today. I hope you enjoy the video. If you stick around to the end, I'm going to have a little look at the Italian language, because I've been told on my Italian ASMR channel, because I have a different channel just in Italian, by my subscribers that Italian is a pre-constructed language. So at the end of the video I'm going to have a little look at that and try and work out the history of that just before we finish, as well as a bonus. Okay, so I'll read from this Wikipedia article, but I'm going to skip lots of it and go to the parts that I want to focus on. So, Italy. Officially the Italian Republic, or the Republic of Italy, in Italian, Repubblica Italiana, is a country that consists of a peninsula delimited by the Alps and several islands surrounding it. Its territory largely coincides with the homonymous geographical region. Italy is located in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea in southern Europe. It is also considered part of Western Europe. A unitary parliamentary republic with Rome as its capital and largest city. The country covers a total area of 301,000 kilometers squared and shares land borders with France, Switzerland, Austria, Slovenia, as well as the enclave microstates of Vatican City and San Marino. Italy has a territorial exclave in Switzerland, Campione. With over 60 million inhabitants, Italy is the third most populous member state of the European Union. Okay, so we're going to skip this middle paragraph. We're going to go here. So, during the early Middle Ages, Italy endured the fall of the Western Roman Empire and the barbarian invasions. But by the 11th century, numerous rival city-states and maritime republics, mainly in the northern and central regions of Italy, became prosperous through trade, commerce and banking, laying the groundwork for modern capitalism. These mostly independent statelets served as Europe's main trading hubs with Asia and the Near East, often enjoying a greater degree of democracy than the larger feudal monarchies that were consolidating throughout Europe. However, part of central Italy was under the control of the theocratic papal states, while southern Italy remained largely feudal until the 19th century, partially as a result of a succession of Byzantine, Arab, Norman, Angevin, Aragonese and other foreign conquests of the region. By the mid-19th century, rising Italian nationalism and calls for independence from foreign control led to a period of revolutionary political upheaval. After centuries of foreign domination and political division, Italy was almost entirely unified in 1861, following a war of independence, establishing the Kingdom of Italy. From the late 19th century to the early 20th century, Italy rapidly industrialized, mainly in the north, and acquired a colonial empire, while the south remained largely impoverished and excluded from industrialization, fueling a large and influential diaspora. Many going to New York, for example, and Argentina and Brazil. Okay, let's skip then to the unification period. Actually, I just want to show you one thing first. So this is what I mean when I say that Italy wasn't a single country up until the late 18th century. So let's just take a little look at this for just one moment. So we were talking about how the southern part of the country was mainly one area and feudal. So this is the Kingdom of Naples, with Naples or Napoli here. Other major cities included Pescara, Foggia, Benevento, Bari, Brindisi, Lecce, Crotone, Cosenza, and Reggio. Then you had the Kingdom of Sicily, with the capital of Palermo. Corsica at the time, now part of France of course, was in the Republic of Genoa. And even more curious, Sardinia, now part of modern-day Italy, was here part of the Crown of Aragon, which is in modern-day Spain. Then, from the centre here, the Papal States with Rome as the capital, we've got, it also included Ancona, Perugia and Bologna, some large cities there. The Republic of Siena and the Republic of Florence are here. Lucca is just here. Then we've got Ferrara, Mantua. I'll double back to this one. I believe it's the Duchy of Modena, the Duchy of Milan, which also included Parma, Asti, then the Duchy of Savoy, which included Turin and parts of modern-day France, Saluzzo, which is modern-day France, I believe, and the Duchy of Savoy also included Nice, which is in modern-day France, and the Republic of Genoa also included the Republic of Monaco. Doubling back to the Republic of Venice, one of the larger ones, which included not only the capital of Venice but Padua, Bergamo, Brescia, and also parts of Istria and Dalmatia, which is modern-day Croatia. Curiously also, I want to point out that Trieste, now part of Italy, was at the time part of Austria. And lastly, the Republic of Ragusa, which I believe is either in modern-day Croatia or Bosnia. So as we can see, there's a lot going on there. Imagine all those extra countries now on a map of Europe. Let's find out what happened then. The unification. The birth of the Kingdom of Italy was the result of efforts by Italian nationalists and monarchists loyal to the House of Savoy to establish a united kingdom encompassing the entire Italian peninsula, which we often refer to as the Boot, for obvious reasons. Following the Congress of Vienna in 1815, the political and social Italian unification movement, or Risorgimento, emerged to unite Italy, consolidating the different states of the peninsula and liberate it from foreign control. A prominent radical figure was the patriotic journalist Giuseppe Mazzini, member of the secret revolutionary society Carbonari, and founder of the influential political movement Young Italy, Unione, Forza e Libertà, in the early 1830s, who favoured a unitary republic and advocated a broad nationalist movement. His prolific output of propaganda helped the unification movement stay active. In this context, in 1847, the first public performance of the song Il canto degli italiani, the Italian national anthem since 1946, nearly 100 years later, took place. Il canto degli italiani written by Goffredo Mameli, set to music by Michele Novaro, is also known as the Inno di Mameli, after the author of the lyrics, or Fratelli d'Italia, from its opening line. Let's take a look at this. I really love it. So Italy, 1829. Now this is going to change. So we can see the central part here is changing. 1847, 1859 has changed to the Kingdom of Sardinia. This is unified in 1859. 1860 is all one. Then France's modern borders in 1860. Sardinia, 1860 Basilica. The south is now joining in 1860, late August, September, when Benevento joined. Naples was liberated in 1860, September 16th. Now the south is coming into control of the north. The Papal States are still, but receding, with Rome still the capital. We're into 1861 now. Turin is proclaimed the capital of Italy. Then Florence. Then we've got Venice. And then finally the Papal State in 1870 was annexed by Italy. 1871 Rome becomes the capital of Italy. I love these maps. Let's just watch it through once more. You can see how the smaller states all merge into much larger ones, starting with the north, and then gradually throughout the south. A lot was happening in 1860. So from one day to the next, Naples were liberated the day after. Papal troops were kicked out from Pontecorvo. Marche and Umbria were joined to the Kingdom of Sardinia. Monaco was given back in 1861 to France. Because they lost Venice to France and then it was given back to Italy. And then 71, Rome becomes the capital of Italy. The most famous member of Young Italy was the revolutionary and general Giuseppe Garibaldi, renowned for his extremely loyal followers, who led the Italian Republic drive for unification in southern Italy. However, the northern Italy monarchy of the House of Savoy in the Kingdom of Sardinia, whose government was led by Camillo Benso, Count of Cavour, also had ambitions of establishing a united Italian state. In the context of the 1848 liberal revolutions that swept through Europe, an unsuccessful First War of Independence was declared on Austria. In 1855, the Kingdom of Sardinia became an ally of Britain and France in the Crimean War, giving Cavour's diplomacy legitimacy in the eyes of the great powers. The Kingdom of Sardinia again attacked the Austrian Empire in the Second Italian War of Independence in 1859, with the aid of France, resulting in liberating Lombardy, modern-day Turin, and Milan. On the basis of the Plombières Agreement, the Kingdom of Sardinia ceded Savoy and Nice to France, an event that caused the Nicene Exodus, one of the first immigration phenomena that involved Italian populations in the contemporary age. It was due to the refusal of a quarter of the Nicene Italians to stay in Nice after its annexation to France in 1861. That was the emigration of the quarter of the Nicene Italians to Italy. In 1860-1861, Garibaldi led the drive for unification in Naples and Sicily, while the House of Savoy troops occupied the central territories of the Italian peninsula except Rome and part of the Papal States. Teano was the site of the famous meeting of the 26th of October 1860, between Giuseppe Garibaldi and Victor Emmanuel II, the last king of Sardinia, in which Garibaldi shook Victor Emmanuel's hand and hailed him as King of Italy. Thus, Garibaldi sacrificed republican hopes for the sake of Italian unity under a monarchy. Carver agreed to include Garibaldi's southern Italy, allowing it to join the union with the Kingdom of Sardinia in 1860. This allowed the Sardinian government to declare United Italian Kingdom on the 17th of March 1861. Victor Emmanuel II then became the first king of United Italy, and the capital was moved from Turin to Florence. In 1866, Victor Emmanuel II allied with Prussia during the Austro-Prussian War, waging the Third Italian War of Independence, which allowed Italy to annex Venetia. Finally, in 1870, as France abandoned its garrisons in Rome during the disastrous Franco-Prussian War, to keep the large Prussian army at bay, the Italians rushed to fill the power gap by taking over the Papal States. Italian unification was completed, and shortly afterwards Italy's capital was moved to Rome. Victor Emmanuel, Garibaldi, Cavour and Mazzini had been referred to as Italy's four fathers of the fatherland. Okay, and to finish off, just as a little bonus, we'll learn a little bit about the Italian language. Italian or Italiano, lingua italiana, is a Romance language of the Indo-European language family that evolved from the Vulgar Latin of the Roman Empire. About 85 million people speak this language as of 2022. Italian is credited as the most direct descendant of Latin, being the closest to it among the national languages and the least divergent from it together with Sardinian, when regional minority languages are also taken into account. So it says, Italian was adopted by the state after the unification of Italy, having previously been a literary language based on Tuscan, as spoken mostly by the upper class of Florentine society. Its development was also influenced by other Italian languages and, to some minor extent, by Germanic languages of the post-Roman invaders. The incorporation of Italian into Italian of learned words from its own ancestral language Latin is another form of lexical borrowing through the influence of written language, scientific terminology, and the liturgical language of the Church. And then just one last section down here I want to inform you with. During the Middle Ages, the established written language in Europe was Latin, though the great majority of people were illiterate, and only a handful were well versed in the language. In the Italian peninsula, as in most of Europe, most would speak a local vernacular. These dialects, as they are commonly referred to, evolved from Vulgar Latin over the course of centuries, unaffected by formal standards and teachings. They are not in any sense dialects of Standard Italian, which itself started off as one of these local tongues, but sister languages of Italian. The Standard Italian language has a poetic and literary origin in the writings of Tuscan and Sicilian writers of the 12th century, and even though the grammar and core lexicon are basically unchanged from those used in Florence in the 13th century, the modern standard of the language was largely shaped by relatively recent events. The language that came to be thought of as Italian developed in central Tuscany and was first formalized in the early 14th century through the works of Tuscan writer Dante Alighieri, written in his native Florentine. Dante's epic poems, known collectively as the Commedia, to which another Tuscan poet, Giovanni Boccaccio, later affixed the title Divina, were read throughout the peninsula, and his written dialect became the canonical standard that all educated Italians could understand. Dante is still credited with standardizing the Italian language. In addition to the widespread exposure gained throughout literature, the Florentine dialect also gained prestige due to the political and cultural significance of Florence at the time, and the fact that it was linguistically an intermediate between the northern and southern Italian dialects. Thus, the dialect of Florence became the basis for what would become the official language of Italy. Okay, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have a pressing topic, historic and geographical, that you'd like me to look at, then drop me a comment. Otherwise, I'll see you really soon. Take care, everyone.